let's talk about Demon Slayer. Do you guys know about Demon Slayer? You guys know about this shit? So, oh, whoa, that's the wrong one. So, okay, so some of you were correct in talking about how front-loaded the Demon Slayer movie would be, and it was pretty front-loaded. It dropped a whopping 75%, which is kind of tough. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, that's a little tough. Here's the thing, though. It's still number one in the fucking box office. So Hollywood, so Hollywood, 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 you're fucked, guys. Hollywood, you're fucked. Wow, holy shit. Okay, so let's talk about this. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is the highest grossing anime movie of all time now, $555 million at the global box office. And it's hard to say exactly where the trajectory goes from here. 75% drop off in North America. Let's talk about that for a second. What does that mean? Well, look, this movie, like a lot of other event movies, was incredibly front loaded. And essentially, what a lot of people are saying about these anime films, and I think this is true, and by the way, this has been kind of caked into the culture of watching anime movies, especially in North America, because usually in North America, they're only there for a couple of weeks. Dude, it's crazy. Things are changing so much, but I remember watching the Broly movie, right? Watching the Broly movie, and being like, oh, it's 2 weeks in North America. Got 2 weeks to get it. So we got to go the first weekend or the second weekend. That's it, you know? And maybe for Dragon Ball Super Hero, they extended that a bit. I'm not sure. But I remember even for Dragon Ball Super Hero, it was like only like 1 weekend I went in there and it was like... So this audience, when I say this audience, I'm referring to the North American audience that is engaged with anime often, right? They're into it. They're used to, oh, it's this weekend, it's this time or whatever. Boom, it's an event thing and then it's over. They're not as trained into the theatrical experience as they are trained into the anime experience. They're really about the anime. They don't necessarily watch a ton of movies. They're not like going to watch this movie and then be like, oh, I would like to go see that again at the theater and have the nice popcorn and the sound and all of that. In fact, most of these people are probably like, dude, that was sick. I can't wait till it goes on Crunchyroll. Just being honest. But I do think that's kind of wild also, because it indicates that even with that being the reality, and potentially that's the reality of not just this movie, but of Superman, of Fantastic Four, of Thunderbolts, of Captain America, of these comic book movies, really, right? Crazy that all of these things are front-loaded, and maybe the gauge or the difference between them is like just how hype can you get it? What is the interest level? And it's kind of amazing that Demon Slayer is able to fall 75% and still be number one in the box office, right? So that means that despite all the shit we just said, Hollywood itself, despite opening 2 movies, one produced by Jordan Peele, and I think Jordan Peele's getting a lot of shit right now because this movie's bombing really badly. Is some of that maybe a little whatever, over the top, over the line or whatever? Maybe, yeah. But at the same time, like, dude, like, it's a big fumble. You're a big brand. It looks really bad when they needed a big hit. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's just the rules of the game. That movie was bombing so badly that an anime movie that dropped 75% outgrossed it. I mean, like, that's just crazy. Like, it's like hard to even fucking comprehend. Like, what the fuck? That's how it's like that's how low and how bad and how stupid Hollywood is doing. And anime, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. So where does this thing end up? Well, I got to tell you, I depending on what the overall run will be, it's going to get close to 600 mil. It could push past that. But literally either way, in 2 weeks, it is It is already better than F4, already better than every Marvel movie that came out this year. By the way, this thing cost probably $30 million total to make and promote. 30 million. 30 million. This thing's making the profit of Deadpool and Wolverine, like, basically, right? Like, this is like straight profit coming in off of this thing. This is insane. So, really super bad look for Hollywood. Good look for Demon Slayer, despite having a crazy drop off. And you gotta imagine the next one will do even better. And that third one might hit $1 billion, brother. It's insane. But this could be the just the beginning. You know what I mean? So, incredible success for Demon Slayer. I guess what I would ask you guys, I'm just kind of curious. Have any of you that have not seen this movie, are any of you still planning to go see this in theater? Throw a 1 into the chat if you are going to see this thing in theaters. I wanted to see it again, like, because I saw it on a really good screen. We traveled, I told you guys this already, but we drove over 2 hours to go to like a super premium screen to watch this thing, and I had an incredible time. And I'm like, I want to see it again, but it's hard to go from like that experience to like just a regular theater, you know, but it was very cool. It's also possible that the length here, Giggity, is hurting the repeat viewership because it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, dude. This is basically like a 3-hour animated movie. So that's a big chunk of time for people to just carve out. Yeah, I'm really interested. Oh wow, not a ton of people that are going to see it again. I mean, maybe that's just what it is. Like, maybe it's kind of like, it's possible this movie is operating at about the extension or the edge of its exposure to people. Like, it might just be kind of perfectly operating within the groups that are willing to check this thing out. Kind of what you would say is maybe it's peaking at its potential. And I would argue, again, because of the trilogy structure, because of going from this to the next, think this thing's going to be huge, man. And I'm really excited to see the next one. I'm excited for this thing to go streaming and watch it again. And I'm excited, obviously, for the whole thing to wrap up. And then, of course, what does the future of anime look like? I mean, if this is, I'll tell you this, too, because, dude, this movie's dope as fuck. If you have action this good at a $30 million budget, what does it look like when Sony's like, hey, what if we give you $100 million? Because remember, too, $100 million budget is a small budget for Hollywood blockbuster stuff. If these movies are, I mean, that's kind of an interesting idea, right? Give them $100 million? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. Doomsday may not even hit 3 hours. That's true, yeah. I believe the second one of these is due in 2027, and I think that'll be right around the time of Secret Wars as well. Dude, that's going to be a crazy year. 2026 is going to be a crazy year, guys. 2027 is going to be like even crazier. 2027 is going to be nuts, dude. And then what if this... So here's another interesting question, because 2027, if things go well, will be the year that the next Spider-Verse movie comes out. The end of that trilogy, which, again, like, you'd expect it to build up, right? What if the second Demon Slayer movie makes more money than the final Spider-Verse film? Whoo! That is interesting, man. I think anime is super well positioned here, dude. And this is just the animated version. I mean, what if they do a live action Demon Slayer trilogy or some shit, you know? But that's another thing, because like they still haven't quite figured that out, but that's like a whole other thing. Would it matter? LOL would be the last cartoon Spider-Man Miles Morales. I think it matters. I think it matters in the sense that it shows a sort of shift. Shonen is it possible that shonen anime and anime itself, popular anime, becomes the new crown jewel of the pop culture zeitgeist? Could it replace comic book shit? That's the conversation, right? That's the question. Oh, China hasn't even had Demon Slayer yet? What? That's crazy. A live-action Demon Slayer would be expensive if done right. That's true, actually. So that's a fair point. It's like, okay, but the animation here is part of why it's so cheap. And that, yeah. I don't know. And then does this open the door for more adult animation with big franchises over here? Because, like, they've tried it. You know, they tried it with that Lord of the Rings thing, which was a very big failure, actually. So I don't know. I mean, some people say X-Men 97 movies could have been huge. And maybe if they still had Bo, if Bo was involved or something, like, maybe that would be, like, viable or whatever. Doomsday making $3 billion? I don't know about that, but I think it's going to get close to 2. Anime has always been a pioneer in translating action. As somebody who hates Demon Slayer but is an animation major, about to graduate, you can't help but appreciate what it's done to the industry. Yeah, I also think, so for me, I do kind of think Demon Slayer is a little bit of like, it's like the Coca-Cola. It's very basic. It's like, I don't know. It's just like basic standard shonen. Great action, though. The lore is cool, but not dense. And then the show's really about humanizing the demons. It's all about, like, you know, Tanjiro is a classic shonen character, and they just do that in their way over and over again. And I've always thought Demon Slayer was, like, cool, but not my favorite, personally. Like, I prefer it to be a little more cerebral and a little bit more complex. But there's something to be said for, like, doing the basic thing and doing the basic thing right. I mean, Star Wars essentially is kind of like that. And Mando Grogu, the trailer we just watched, it does kind of look to evoke that, where it's like, dude, it's just pretty basic Star Wars. It's like, hey, we're just going to do the Star Wars thing, and we're going to hopefully do it in a way that you're very excited to see. Demon Slayer is a lot like that. They kind of tried with Lord of the Rings. The report came out that they just made up to keep the IP. Whoa, really? Oof. You never want to hear that. Oof. What time is Nerd Theory? I believe we're going to go like 5:30 to 6. I'm going to hit Theory up later. He already sent me the link, but I'm going to hit him up later. I'm thinking maybe he and I get into the thing at 5:30, and then we try around 6 to get in there, because we want to talk a little bit, you know, kind of catch up and then get into it. Does it say 5:30 on the thing? Galactus should have opened the F4 by eating a planet. Space Team should have been longer. Should have added some sauce to delicious spiceless pasta Alfredo. Fair. Yeah, fair. I liked it a lot. I was very impressed. But I can't sit here and say I wouldn't have enjoyed more. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, all the stuff this guy says he wants more of, I'm not going to say no to that. That all sounds great. Give me more of that. It's good, but there's so many anime people are so hyped for the Solo Leveling or Dan to Dan. Dude, those are both great. Those are both great animes. I think Solo Leveling is so cool. So I'm excited. Well, hopefully they nail that shit, man. Hey, remember me who said the Demon Slayer would make more money than Fantastic Four Superman? Plus, I heard China will have the Demon Slayer. So my take was spot on. Yeah. Is China getting Demon Slayer? Because, yeah, no, that's that would appear to be the truth of it. Yeah. So we'll see, guys. We'll wrap this up here about Demon Slayer, but I just thought this is just another additional part of the story that's so fascinating, bro. Imagine dropping 75% and still winning the weekend in Hollywood, being so much more profitable than most Hollywood films. Like, it's just crazy. So that's what it is. Now let's attempt to crash the stream again. You know what I mean?